Welcome to the Running Network Show. Join us each time as we explore the people, the places, and the events that shape our great sport.
Hi, this is Jenny McCafferty for the Michigan Runner and the Running Network, and we're in Flint, Michigan with Dave McGillivray, who is in Flint for the Crim Festival of Races. Dave, welcome to Flint. It's nice to see you here.
Thank you. I just arrived this morning, and I was telling everyone early in the morning that I could not be treated any better than I have been by these wonderful people here. I'm already committing myself to come back again, and I haven't even left yet. But when people make you feel good about yourself, it's tough to leave that environment. So kudos to them for their hospitality.
Well, Dave, it's exciting to have you here, and one of the things that's pretty interesting is how many sort of connections there are between Flint and Boston and the way the community embraces racing. And you pointed quite a few of those out this morning when you were talking to those of us at the press conference. The community around Boston is kind of like a celebration. It's a huge festival on Patriots Day, and Flint and the Crim Festival of Races is the town's celebration. So what are some of the things that you see as important to racing in a community?
As I was saying earlier, I truly believe one of the most important elements to a successful event is the support we as event directors get from the community. If you felt like you wanted, you felt like you're accepted, then it's easier to get the job done. We recognize the fact that when you put on a race, you do have an impact on the community in terms of shutting down roads and inconveniencing certain people. But what we now try to do is, instead of inconveniencing them, we try to engage them, have the community get involved instead of getting upset that they can't drive from point A to point B. Now they're coming to the race and they're either running, volunteering, supporting at some level, and that's what the Crim race has been successful at doing, and it's the standard. It's the gold standard in the industry. And it's really exciting to see so many different entities involved in this race to make it as successful as it has been.
One of the other parallels I noticed was the Health Plus Crim Festival of Races is really raising money for Special Olympics. And you have been long associated with fundraising, and especially the Jimmy Fund. You've done a lot of events yourself, and you've organized events. For our viewers, can you explain what the Jimmy Fund is?
The Jimmy Fund is the fundraising arm of the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute in Boston, one of the most well-known cancer research centers in the world. And one year I was working at the John Hancock Tower at the time, and I looked out the window and I saw Fenway Park, and I saw a sign out in right field that said, "Help make a dream come true, support the Jimmy Fund." I wasn't even sure what the Jimmy Fund was. I called them up, I found out what it was. I went over there, I visited with the kids, and I decided to run across America to raise money for the Jimmy Fund. And Runner's World said that it was the first time someone used running to raise money for cancer research, so back in 1978. So I'm proud of that moment. And there's always signs in the world that you see, and I saw a sign in the Jimmy Fund Clinic. It said, "God made only so many perfect heads. The rest of them have hair on it." And I realized that about turning negatives into a positive. Yeah, those kids could have been down and out and depressed, but instead they had hope, and they trusted that the doctors and the parents were going to help them recover. And that's what makes the difference in making it in life and not.
Well, you pointed out the change in emphasis on raising money for charity and running, and how it's really taken off, and you yourself have had as much to do with that as anybody, haven't you?
Well, I think what it is that, running isn't easy. I suppose if it was, everybody would be doing it, although more and more people are doing it. So sometimes you have to think of it from the perspective of having a greater purpose, having even more of an incentive to reach that finish line, not just the personal goal setting. And when you combine philanthropy with that, it's a win-win situation, because not only do you get to accomplish what you set out to accomplish, but some good is done in the process. So it's exciting to see what's going on in the world in terms of all these different charities getting involved in road racing and all the fundraising. And for me, there's no greater reward in life than when you give, because when you give, you receive even more in return. It's almost like a trick, and people don't realize that until they do it.
Well, to back up a little bit, the Greater Boston Track Club just celebrated its 40th anniversary, and you have a nickname called the Long Run. What's that about?
First of all, I want to know who's giving you all this information. You're getting all the scoop here. Yeah, I was at that celebration. I did speak, but Coach Bill Squires gave me that nickname, that moniker, if you will. After I had finished running across the country, I finished in Fenway Park, and right after that, I was really excited about going to the next stop, which was the Elliott Lounge, right down the street, the watering hole where all of us hung out a little bit. And Coach was there at the time, and that's when he coined the phrase long run. And I'm really proud of that. I like what it stands for, and especially coming from somebody of his stature.
We have to finish with what happened in April, and that is Boston. My own connection was I'd lived near Boston for 10 years, and my daughter was born there. So when it happened, I felt it like, that's my town. But Boston is never going to be kicked down. And you made the point, it's turning something negative into positive. Can you elaborate on that a bit?
Again, not everything happens for a reason, but you have to overcome obstacles in life and tragedies and look at the silver lining. And once the healing process starts to begin and starts to fade, then becomes the recovery. And recovery just means getting stronger. I always feel like scar tissue on the body is stronger than the original skin. And it's almost like a badge of courage that you went through something very tragic, but you come out on the other side stronger for it. And that's really what's happening, and you're seeing in Boston, in the United States, all over the world regarding our industry and the solidarity and the strength behind it. And they're going to have to get a bulldozer for Boston next year, because I don't know where we're going to put all these people, but it should be a wonderful, great race.
It's a nice problem to have. I have one more question. You're famous for running the Boston Marathon after everything's all over. What did you do this year?
Well, I didn't run it that night, but I went back out 11 days later. And quietly, I didn't tell anyone I was doing it, just went out with a friend, and his son and my son helped us along the course, driving a vehicle, giving us water and food. And I was able to put closure on my 41st running of the Boston Marathon.
Congratulations. Thank you for talking with us.
Thank you very much.